friends, it's Emily from burlapkitchen.com, where I'm all about simplicity. Today we're going to be making a fun snowman using a scrap piece of 2x4 that I found in my garage, and also another piece of wood that I found that was also scrap that I'm going to be using for the base. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to paint this 2x4 white. I am using white chalk paint. I believe it's a Crayon brand. You can get it at Lowe's. I'm just using a cheap chip brush to paint this with. You can get those at Lowe's too, or Walmart sells them also. So I'm just making sure the front, sides, everything's coated. Now I'm going to take my little piece that I cut down for the base, and I'm just going to give that one coat of black chalk paint. The acrylic paints will work fine for this too. Use what you have on hand. Any paint should work fine for both the base and the snowman. So I'm just finishing that up, let everything dry in between, and then we're going to take a sanding block and just scuff it up a little bit. You guys know I love that rustic look, so I'm just going to scuff it up. If you guys don't like that look, you can definitely skip this step. So I'm going to scuff up my base also, and these sanding blocks, you can find them at Walmart, Lowe's, even Dollar Tree sells them. So now that I got that all scuffed up, I'm going to put my gloves on, and we are going to come in with some stain, and I'm going to stain both the base and the snowman. I am using Minwax stain in the color dark walnut. So you just want to get an old rag, and I keep this rag in my staining stash until it gets so gross that I have to throw it away, but you can use it for a while. So I just dip a corner into the stain and then just rub it onto whatever I'm staining, and then just wipe it off with a clean section of the rag. So when I did this, it actually turned it a little darker than what I wanted it to on that white, and made it sort of like a gray color. You guys can kind of see how that's turning out. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix it here in a minute. But I was already too far in to stop, so I figured I'd just go with it, and that way whatever I did, it all looked the same, if that makes sense. So now that I got that all wiped down, and you might like that look, you could definitely keep it that way if you like, but I wanted it a little bit brighter, so I went back in and just dry brushed some more of my white chalk paint over top, and it turned out perfect. So I actually really like how this turned out. So if you guys are trying to achieve that look, just go ahead and do it exactly how I did in this video, I mean. So I'm just dry brushing it on. Again, I'm just using one of those cheap chip brushes. From Walmart, Lowe's. They both sell them. So I'm just giving a real quick coat. And that looks pretty good. So now I have some material here. This is from Joann Fabrics, I believe, that I'm going to use for the hat and the scarf. But if you do not have Joann Fabrics near, or you don't want to spend the money, try to go like Goodwill or a thrift store and find men's button-down dress shirts. They work perfectly for scarves and hats. I use them often when I'm doing projects like this. I just actually had this material on hand, so I figured I'd use it up. So I'm just gluing my hat on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a plastic bag and just stuff it in there. All this is going to do is just give my hat a little bit of volume. And then I'm going to take a piece of twine and tie it up there at the top. You want to make sure everything is nice and tight when you do this. And I actually had a little rusty bell that I decided to slip on, and then I just tied a little bow at the top of his hat. I think I did have to go back and hot glue that bell in place just to get it to sit the way that I wanted it to sit. So now you can come in with some fabric scissors and just kind of cut that top the way that you want it to look. And I'm just kind of playing around with his hat to get it to look the way that I want. And I'm going to come in here with his scarf and just tie that on real quick. That just is going to give me a little bit of an idea where to put the snowman's face, but I'll probably adjust it here in a minute. And you can see I wanted the longer piece to be on the bottom. And I don't know if you guys do this, but every time I go to do that, I always end up getting the longer on the top. So just know you just have to play around with it till you get it right. So I just dipped the back of my paintbrush into some black paint and dotted it on there for some eyes. Used a little bit of blush for his cheeks. I actually have this wooden nose. This was from a previous project that I just used. So if you don't have a saw to cut out a wooden nose like this, Lawan is great for cutting it out. Then try maybe a piece of cardboard or something like that, and you can nail it in, maybe seal it with some Mod Podge. And I just used a Sharpie to draw a cute little mouth on him. And then I had these little rusty stars that I got at a craft store. If you don't have these, you could use buttons. I'm just nailing it on with some finishing nails. And you could also even cut this out of the tin cookie sheets from Dollar Tree. You could get one of those and make rusty stars out of them and use them. That would work too. So I'm just kind of fixing his scarf. I decided he needed a little bit of an embellishment on his hat. So I just cut off a little piece of pine. It's like a little piece of pine and a pine cone, and just glued them onto his hat. And now we're going to do the base. So to do this, just put a screw right in the middle of the base and then drill it to where it just pokes through. And then what you can do is kind of tap it onto, or push it onto the bottom center of your snowman, and then finish screwing it the whole way in. And then he will stand up. And that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this project. For more fun DIYs just like this, please visit burlapkitchen.com. Thank you.